Manchester United have finally started acting like a real club again. We have new owners in Ineos, we have replaced the backroom staff, and today we have replaced the manager. Erik ten Hag is out after 2 seasons that have been okay, but nothing up to where Manchester United's standards should be. And with that, they have brought in new manager Gary Stanton. We are going to take over the club for just 5 seasons to see how we can turn this club around. Now, we've obviously made a couple of signings before we've even come in. One of those being Joshua Zirkzee, who looks an absolutely unbelievable player. I really like the look of him. I think he's going to be a great partner to Højlund. And I also think that, healthy competition. Before there was Martial, not really much competition there, but he looks a great signing. And of course, there are other signings such as Leny Yoro, who is in the squad but not in this starting 11. However, there's obviously players that we might want to get rid of. There's obviously jobs that we want to do. You can see that even at the end of the 27-28 season, all we're looking to do is challenge for the Premier League title. And this season, we just have to qualify for the Europa League. That is how bad Manchester United have got in these past years. As a massive fan of the club, I really, really need to see more. So we're going to get into the save. We're going to run through the squad. We're going to see who we've got. And we're going to absolutely, hopefully, change this club around. We have been very, very busy behind the scenes at Manchester United. So we're going to give you a very quick run through of what we've done and then the potential ideas that we have for this squad. So as you can see, we've set up in a 4-2-2. Now the reason for that is I really, really want to get use out of Højlund and Zirkzee. But we're going to start from the back. Now, Onana, I'm very happy with Onana in goal. We've only had him for a season. Let's give him one more, see how he gets on. Dalot and Wan-Bissaka, I'm happy for this season. Ideally, we'll look at the bigger picture at getting a much better world-class right-back, should we say. But at the moment, we've got Dalot there and Wan-Bissaka as our backup. One more defensive, one more attacking, depending on who we play. Martinez as our starting centre-back. Very, very happy with this. We've currently got him as a central defender. I prefer doing that because I feel like our ball-playing defenders will play more possessional anyway with the tactic, so we can have him on central. Now Leny Yoro will actually be a backup centre back. I really like the signing of Leny Yoro, an 18-year-old centre back with a lot of potential, but he will just be a backup for now. So we do need a starting centre back. Luke Shaw, I really like him. Think he's a great defender, has his injury issues, but for this year I think we'll keep him as our starting left back. And then obviously we've got Terrell Malacia as our backup left back, who hasn't been seen in a long time. Going into our midfield, we do have Kobbie Mainoo. We want to play him as much as possible, but we do have to remember he is still only 19, so we do want to sort of slowly embed him into the team, make sure someone's mentoring him, which we'll get into in a minute. But he is obviously great, and the more game time, the better. And next to him is Bruno Fernandes. He's going to be playing in this Mazzala role on attack, and should have a great job. We can also switch him to a central midfielder on attack, which I'm actually going to do now because we don't necessarily need width from him, given the fact that we have Garnacho and Rashford. So onto them, we have Garnacho on the wing again, just like Mainoo, a youngster who we think is ready for the first team now, but could still use some time just on the side to keep him humble, let's say. One of the leaders of the team, our new vice captain, Marcus Rashford. I have full faith in this guy. I think he can be brilliant. So we've given him that faith. We've made him vice captain, and obviously here he is a great left winger. Going on to the subs in that midfield, so we've got Mason Mount. Mason Mount, I think, deserves another season. definitely. I can actually see that some of the players that we had not in the subs because of our friendlies have gone in here. So players that are getting cold from the squad are Anthony, who I don't think is good enough, Ericsson, who's way too old, Casemiro for a good reason, and I'll tell you why. Lindelof, sadly, I really like Lindelof. I think he's a centre defensive mid, not a centre back in my opinion. And I think if he moved position there, he'd be quite good. We're just not playing with a centre defensive mid, so we'll remove him. Johnny Evans, we're actually keeping around just for the mentoring. It's 1 year. We're no point selling him. We're not going to get a lot of money. And McTominay as well, we're actually going to keep around just as a squad player. But just so you know who we're kind of looking at, Radek Vitek as well, huge potential, really like him. Probably will actually be our second keeper compared to Bayinda. So our subs will look like that. Now on the wing, we've got Amad Diallo. I think he is unbelievable. Just this preseason, we're filming this I think on the 22nd of July. 2 preseason games, he has been the star in both. So really looking forward to him this season. And obviously Jadon Sancho, a top player, a player I see as a number 10 or a number 8, because I think he's not got the pace to be a winger. He's not as direct, but put him in a central role where he has to work it out. I think he's brilliant. So it could be something that we try and develop. We're not currently playing with a 10. So yeah, it's something that we'll look at. But for now, he can go as a winger. And then up front, we've got no subs up front. There's only 2. Joshua Zirkzee, our latest signing. I think a great signing. 6'4" with great agility, dribbles really well. Like the media description says, he's unpredictable. I think he'll be a great signing. And then obviously Rasmus Højlund, who I think is absolutely brilliant. Great signing last year. And you can see a real core of this team. Our oldest player is 29, and that's Bruno Fernandes. Everyone else 21, 23, 26, 20, 19. We've got real youth, no subs here over the age of 25 either. So Wan-Bissaka, there you go. But real good ideas. So when we're looking at the kind of additions we want to make, number 1, a starter. We need a new centre-back that can partner Martinez, hopefully world-class standard. So we'll be looking at a couple of centre-backs. I want a backup midfielder. At the moment, we just have Mount and maybe McTominay. If no one comes in for him, then obviously Mount can be a backup and we can have another backup here. And then obviously youngsters. And then probably 2 to 1 backup strikers, Højlund and Zirkzee. If one of them gets injured, we're kind of finished. Yes, Rashford can play there and we can put Diallo in. So maybe just 1 backup striker. But if money lets us, we'll bring 2 in, no problem. I think back to 99 where we had 4 top strikers in the club, even 2008. Berbatov, Rooney, Tevez, Ronaldo, who else did we have? Someone. But we've always had great sort of set of strikers. It shouldn't stop here. And then looking at youngsters, we'll get youngsters in for every role. The way the squad planner is working, we kind of want a starter, a backup and a youngster in each position. So over this year and the next 4 years and 5 years that we're here, we'll slowly do that. Looking at the tactic, we will be playing slightly more direct passing and slightly higher tempo, fairly wide, and playing out of defence. I don't pass into space. I find they naturally do that anyway, so I don't need to put that on. We'll counter press and counter quickly, and then obviously we'll distribute to our centre backs, who hopefully will get wide, and our full backs can push on. And then out of possession, we'll have a higher defensive line, a high press, and we'll trigger the press much more often. So we've got a plan for the team. We've got our penalties sorted. We haven't really put any player instructions just yet. We've got our set pieces sorted, but we've done a couple of things. So number 1, staffing. As you can see, we're almost best at all of the staff, but we have inquired and offered contracts to fill out every position possible and try and get the best in every league, everywhere across the league. Looking at our mentoring, we've made a defenders, midfielders and attackers group. We'll probably do a goalkeepers one actually, since we're here. Let's make sure we spell it right. We might as well throw in, obviously, the 3 goalkeepers that we have, just to mentor off of each other and see what we do. The main ones that we've got is obviously Lenny Oro learning off of Johnny Evans and Martinez. He'll get a significant effect from that group. Kobe Mainu and Garnacho learning off, and Diallo learning off of Bruno. And then obviously Højlund, Xerxes learning off of Rashford. But hopefully we can bring in one more key midfielder, one more key defender, one more key attacker, and who knows. Looking at our schedule, we've played 2 friendlies already, one 7-0 and one 3-0, but we have got some interesting games coming up. 3 good games, Barcelona, Sporting and Milan, before our Community Shield game against Manchester City. And that moves nicely onto our transfers and our potential shortlist. Now, we haven't made any transfers yet, but there is one going out. You can see here it's ready to go. Casemiro ready to leave Manchester United. I was going to keep him round. He is a good player to have in the squad, but he's 32 now. Let's cash in on him while we can. 40 million from Al Ali. We tried to get 50 or 60, even 45. They weren't having it. So 40 million, I'm happy with that. We'll get him out, and yeah, we'll confirm that now. Now, who takes over from that backup midfielder role that we like? Well, we have put in a bid for number 1 free agent, Adrien Rabiot. Now, I know there's stories around his attitude and he's got a problem XYZ, but he is a world-class midfielder. You can see the stats here on how good he is. If we put him into a central midfielder attack role, or equally a deep line playmaker role, he can play both. For a free, it's absolutely no question. He's exactly what we need. And yeah, hopefully he can come in. He's very interested. We've offered a decent contract to him. So we'll see if he joins us. Looking at the rest of our shortlist, we obviously want a centre-back to come in as a starter. We've got our eyes on a couple. Alessandro Bastoni just committed his future to Inter, so I'm not sure if we'll be able to get him. But we are looking at Mark Gahey as well from Palace. Brilliant for England over the summer in the Euros, and obviously still young, but quite, Premier League. He knows the league, and he's a very, very good player. Other than that, we're looking at really young players such as Antonio Silva, 20 years old, Benfica, looks to be brilliant. He has a high potential, and already is good enough. Goncalo Inacio, again, leading Premier League player potential, looks class already, so I think he'd fit in perfectly. And then Calafiori, someone who really impressed during the Euros. We talk about aura, this man has it. He doesn't have his long hair in the photos, but he's exactly the kind of centre-back that I would love at Manchester United. And who knows, on our squad planner, we're obviously looking at getting in potential, we need 2 more. Why not? 4 centre-backs. So could we get 2 centre-backs in out of that list? 1 starter, 1 backup, definitely. And lastly, one of the strikers we're looking at to be a 3rd and a 4th would be Victor Gyökeres, if I've said that right. He is unbelievable. I loved him at Coventry. I loved him at Sporting this season, and I think he has huge potential. So we could bring him in, not too expensive either, I think. But he'd have to make sure he knows that he's going to be rotating with Højlund and Xerxes as well, pardon me. So a lot to do. We're probably looking at one more striker as well, but it will be a youngster, 18 or so. We have got a couple of guys that we are scouting. I don't know if they're going to show up here, but yeah, youngsters such as Tel, Diamonde, Torre, Rooney, Bargy, who we've obviously all heard a lot of. We've looked at all the youngsters. Vanderson, even as a right back, could he be the right back to replace Dalot and Wan-Bissaka? Who knows? Definitely not Pepe down here for youngsters, but we've got an idea. We've just sold Casemiro for 40 million. Rabiot is hopefully coming in soon, and we're looking obviously to get rid of a lot of players as well. We've got staff coming in. It all looks positive at Manchester United, so we're going to sim over pre-season, probably to the beginning of the Community Shield, and see how we get on. Great news regarding Adrien Rabiot. He is set to sign for Manchester United. Again, for a free agent, we are picking up a top player. Let's just hope that we can keep his potential attitude. And apparently his mum gets involved or something. It's a weird thing with Rabiot, but he has joined Manchester United. We're also in a few bids for a couple of players. So we've offered Mark Gahey for 10 million up front and 40 million across 3 years. They've stalled the offer, waiting for a potential better offer from someone else. Could we change our offer? Maybe, but we've got so many other centre-backs we're interested in, but I think he would be great. We've also had a bid accepted for 10 million and 40 million in 3 years for Victor Gyökeres, however you say that. But I think he would be an absolute brilliant sign. He would, imagine Xerxes, Højlund and Victor, we'll call him to keep it easier, keeping each other on their toes. He's in the contract stage, so hopefully we can get that over the line. But the moves at Manchester United are happening, and it looks to be really positive. So as you can see, important player in his prime years. We've added him in. Really good signing. So Palace have come back wanting to alter the deal with us. Now you can see they want an extra 10 million and profit from the next sale. Now I think we're going to keep him. So I'm going to drop this down to 5 mil. Actually, no. I'm going to remove it and I'm going to put this to 10%. Let's see what happens. They want it. I don't mind the next sale because I think he's going to stay with us for the full 5 years. Can we get this down to 5 million? Suggest terms. They've accepted. We should hopefully move into the contract stage with Mark Gahey, who would again be such at only 23 years old, an experienced sign-in for the Premier League with still so much potential. So very good there. Let's start negotiations with him. He'll be an important player. We'll remove any expectations just in case. He wants 105k a week, which isn't terrible considering the contracts we've put on before. We'll remove this. We'll remove the unused substitute fee. And I think I'm happy with that. So yeah, that's fine. 110k. Could Mark Gahey be joining Manchester United? We'll get this press conference done and we'll join you soon. And just like that, Victor Gyökeres has signed for Manchester United. We will lose 11.5 million this year, but look at the player we have just signed. Brilliant squad depth happening now. We'll ask Ericsson for some reason to get Victor in. I've noticed we're not actually selling much players as we see Tyler Fredrickson goes on loan, but he will slot straight in, Gyökeres, and I think that's a class signing, one I'd love to see in real life as well. So we'll throw him in. Finally, we have a substitute attacker. We'll also throw Rabiot in here. So effectively, our full squad, which we wanted for this season, is done. Now, if we look at the planner, all we want is obviously Mark Gahey to come into this main spot. And then maybe get one young centre back, centre back and one young centre mid as well. Maybe one more striker. So the squad is building out. Not a lot of work to be done, which shows the potential positive side of Manchester United, that we're actually doing a couple of things right. We're going to reject anything for Euro. I do see him in my plans this season. We might as well. Wan-Bissaka, I'm open to it, but who knows? We'll see. He's got a year left on his contract. So yeah, let's see what other signings we can get in. We have absolutely turned around the staffing here. You can see in the coaching team, we have the best in each department across the league. The same in our scouting team. And we are third in the physio medical team. But I'm very happy with that. And one other addition to the team is Mark Gahey. You can see that Mark Gahey is joining us. 10 million deducted from the 27 million we have left, all funded from Casemiro, so it turns out to be that was a good decision. And over the course of the 5 years, or 3 years it will be, having 40 million each going out for, Gyökeres, I say his name different every time, Mark Gay, etc. It actually looks to be quite good. But he's coming in an experienced Premier League centre-back. He looks great. Still only 24 years old. Just turned 24 in this. He's a priority leading Premier League player. He's going to slot straight into the centre-back position. So welcome to the club, Mark Gay. The Community Shield is upon us. We are ready to face off against Manchester City in a very tough opening game to our Manchester United career. You can see here in the Premier League table, we are predicted to finish 5th, which obviously we need to be top 4, absolutely no question. But we obviously want to be winning the title. Now, do I think we have a squad capable of winning the title? I really, really do. So let's hope that's the case. Not much has changed since last time. We'll obviously sort out the squad. But we have got some potential players coming in. If we go to our transfers, we have made a bid for Goncalo Inacio. I think it's 10 million up front and then 35 million or something. Yeah, that would make sense. Over the course of 3 years. Keep all the negotiations nice and simple. No clauses for clean sheets. No, it gets complicated. But 22-year-old centre-back, already a great player, and obviously so much room to grow as well to be a leading Premier League player. But you would have seen as well Xavi Simons. Now, he is loan listed. They don't have a role for him to play. And in real life, this is kind of, what's being thought will happen with Xavi Simons. I think he is on the same level as any top youngster you're looking at in the next generation, whether it be Manu, Garnacho, Pedri, Gavi. Xavi Simons needs to be in that conversation. And for us to be able to pick him up on loan and then potentially, which is the bit I don't like, £64 million, it doesn't say it here, optional future fee. Now, I took it. It's optional. If he performs well this season and we see the development, then yes, we'll probably take him up on that because he's 21, so we have so much more room to grow. But already he's absolutely unbelievable. Now, where he would fit into our squad planner, firstly, Inacio would fit perfectly. We have 4, for me, unbelievable centre-backs. And then looking at our midfielders, we obviously will have Bruno, Mason and Xavi here. And obviously Kobe, Rabiot and maybe McTominay. I'm also looking at one other potential player, and that would be Nicolo Fagioli. He already is a great player. I think good Premier League and will be a leading Premier League player. Now we can loan him out as well with an optional future fee of 30 million, which actually doesn't sound bad. And when we look at the future and how we're looking to the future, he would replace McTominay. Rabiot, he would be another youngster coming in that can learn off of those players for a year or two and then make it his own. And lastly, Evan Ferguson, someone we would love to bring in. He's loan listed, but the only way we can get an optional future fee on him is 114 million, and I am not spending that much. Do we bring him on loan just for this season, no future fee, and just bring him in loan to hopefully score a couple of goals? Maybe, but are we that kind of club that you send a player to loan to make better? Who knows? We do have another shortlist with players that we are looking at, and I don't know if there's any strikes on there. Cole Palmer on loan for some reason, mental. But I think that is enough discussing our transfer plans. We are now ready to get into the game against Manchester City. There's a lot of changes to be made, but we will make sure it is ready. So our starting 11 should be Onana, Dalot, Guehi, Martinez and Shaw. That is all correct. We're then going to give Kobbie Mainoo his start with Bruno Fernandes, Rashford, Garnacho, Xerxes and Højlund to start with. We're going to stay loyal to our boys. Now the bench is what we want to look at. We want to make sure that Wan-Bissaka and Euro are our defenders. We then want to make sure, it's all complicated, I do it in a certain way. So we need to make sure, obviously, we have our key players in. So Rabiot there is fine for me. What we might actually do as well is bring in, for example, take him out. Bring in, so now we've got a left back, a right back, and a centre back. That's perfect. We then have a centre mid or two centre mids with Rabiot and Mount, and then Diallo, Sancho, two wingers, and a striker as well. We'd potentially remove a fullback if we got another striker, for example. But lots of rotation this season if we have 3 or 4 in each position. But we want to make sure we at least have a starting 11, a backup 11, and then a youngsters 11. It's how I do all my teams. But a bench quite strong. Gyökeres, Sancho, Diallo, Mount, Rabiot, Malacia, Euro, Wan-Bissaka and Vitek. All fresh, all sharp. Morale is high across the squad. We're going to drop to balance. We're going to keep all of our tactics the same. We're not going to change it. We're not scared of Manchester City. We respect them. We know that they're good, but we're not scared. I'm going to remove all the hard tackling. We can't do any red cards today. And I don't think we're going to do individual instructions on any of them. They're all class. We need to work as a team. So we are ready to jump into our first official, let's say, game. We'll remove all those subs at a later date. But first official game, let's say, and we are obviously excited. I'm sure we'll have to turn off the noise and sort out the cameras. Obviously, my friendlies have all been done by my assistant, which we should jump into very quickly to see how we do. But everyone's gained confidence. I'm going to leave it at that. We're going to preview the match and hopefully see Man City beaten by the end of the 90. So a strong lineup, 4-2-2 is different. I wouldn't play a 4-2-2 with United until we got Xerxes. But, you know, I think it works, so we'll see. Right, let's quickly sort out all of our things. I'm happy with extended highlights director. It might actually be sorted for us already, so that is good. We'll turn it up slightly and we are ready to go. Now, before we do start, it obviously doesn't really matter, but let's look at our preseason and what we're expecting to do. So 7-0, 3-0, 4-2, 15-1 against that team, 7-3 against AEK Athens, 4-0 against Barca, 3-0 against Celtic, 3-1 and 4-1. So we're winning games. Can we bring that form into this match against Manchester City? We will see. Oh, Rashford wins it early doors there, and Xerxes can't quite get onto it. We want that high press, and we want to make sure we take the game to Manchester City. Anana collects the ball, and we start an attack. Gay's first touch as a Manchester United player. He's going to be key over these next 5 years, as will Xerxes, who gets dispossessed but wins it back. That's what we want. Højlund, 1-on-4 here. Can he find a way? He can't quite score, but he does force a corner out of the Man City defence. Short, can you whip it in? Yes, you can. We can't get onto it. Unfortunate. Short with a free kick here. Whips it back post for some reason to De Bruyne. And City are going to go on a counter-attack here. Walker plays it long over to Haaland. Is he onside? I think he is, because whoever's at the back there has left him completely onside. Is that Luke Shaw, who gave the ball away in the first place? A very, very poor goal to concede. He's definitely onside because of that stupid line. Look at this. And then there's one. Who is it? I'm going to catch you. Luke Shaw on a yellow in the 5th minute. Giving away a goal. Not a great start. We have been looking at Alejandro Balde, so be careful. But yeah, not good enough from Luke Shaw there. Usually we'll be on key highlights. That was close, but for obviously finals or big games, especially our opener to the series against Manchester City, it's nice to be on extended, and hopefully we can see more about how we can approach this game. We might take a bit more of a defensive standpoint, maybe put our wingers on support or something, or change it up just a little bit. But we might not need to, because Rasmus Højlund introduces himself to the new season. A great corner from Bruno Fernandes, whips it in, and Rasmus Højlund with a great header, taking Ederson by shock there. And it is Manchester United 1, City 1. We have another corner. Can we do the same? It's a great set-piece routine that we set up. Bruno whips it in. Højlund can't win that one. Martinez does, though. Bruno back on the ball. Can we get it nice and low? Garnacho off the post, it looks like. Maybe just save. Luke Shaw shoots. We are taking the game to City. Exactly what we wanted. And there you go. VAR, or goal line technology, shows us almost that it hasn't crossed the line. Good start from United though. Martinez over to Luke Shaw. Rashford gets the ball. No, he doesn't. Walker wins it. A rash clearance from Walker. Dalot gets it back, and it's with Garnacho on the wing. Can he beat his man? He can. He gets a cross in. Højlund, he's won a header already. Is that where Xerxes and Højlund are going to do really well in the air? They're both over 6 foot. I think Xerxes 6'4" or something. Højlund must be about 6'1", 6'2". But Bruno, another corner. We are pinning City back after their opening goal. Bruno, can he shoot? He does, and a great save from Ederson to keep that ball out of the back of the net. But a very, very good start by United here. Short, whip it in. We've got players on the edge of the box, and it is Rashford on that edge who gets it. Can he get it back in? We've numbered all of the players very carefully, and we'll talk through that after this attack. Menu to Shaw, Martinez. We're building it back. We're being patient, which I like. We'll draw City out of their low block, and Højlund gets his second goal of the season against Manchester City, and what a goal it was, working it back to drag City out of their low block. You can see them pulling forward, and then a defence splitting pass or a forward positive ball from Gay. Garnacho the same, really positive direct pass in, and Højlund with the finish. As we now can move on to talking about the numbers that we've given players. So Onana number 1, he wanted 24, but your keeper's going to be number 1. Dalot number 2 and Shaw number 3 fullbacks. 5 and 6 for our centre backs. Menu with 16, the Roy Keane number. I made sure to carefully give him that one. He is our new leader, hopefully, after a few years. Bruno stays as 8. Garnacho gets the famous 7 as he's on the ball here. He's got a bright future. Dalot over the top. Rashford can't quite get it. We don't... Oh, Bruno with an overhead kick off the crossbar. But Garnacho deserves the 7. He's had a great season. He's got a great future here. So he gets the all-important 7. Rashford gets 11. Ryan Giggs is number. Why not? And then Xerxes and Højlund both 9 and 10. Subs have been carefully picked, but they haven't earned the right yet to be announced. Last attack before the first half. Xerxes over to Menu. Menu to Garnacho. Poor there. We should be keeping the ball a little bit more careful there. Maybe moving the ball about. De Bruyne over to Ederson. Ruben. I like our press. We're quite narrow in our press as well with the 2 strikers. It helps. And then obviously the fullbacks are disrupted by our wide players. But City doing what they do, keeping the ball well until Rodri gives it away there. We can't capitalise straight away, but we do keep the ball. We start our attacks again. Martinez to Shaw. More defence splitting passes. And Bruno Fernandes makes it 3-1 to Manchester United. Really positive passes through the gaps that they're leaving open. It's really important. We don't do this enough as Manchester United in real life. We play sideways pass or we just whack it over the top. It's so easy to find gaps like this. You'll see where Rashford takes one touch, finds a gap with a positive run, and we get a third goal out of our captain, Bruno Fernandes. It's so easy, and yet we don't do it in real life. Of course, you know, I'm not saying football's easy, but it to an extent it is. So yeah, we're doing really good. We're going to completely stay positive. There's no reason not to be 3-1 up against City in the first half after going 1-0 down. No need to be too strict. Let them enjoy it. It's still a charity match after all. And Garnacho starts the second half off well here. Højlund, another brilliant positive pass. And Bruno Fernandes makes it 4-1 within 29 seconds of the second half. What a start from United. Is this potentially going to be the year that United return? With a start like this, the fans, the media, everyone would be thinking it. It's just got to stay true now. Fernandes with 2, Højlund with 2. Everyone playing really, really well. And Bruno could get his hat-trick here, a great save from Ederson. But what a performance from Manchester United here. We've kept our pre-season form. Can we get 15 like we did against the opposition early on? Maybe, we'll see. We are looking obviously to bring a sub on. And I think we want to bring some of our newer signings on. So I'll bring Mainu off. He's had enough for a 19-year-old. For Rabiot, let's give him a chance to show what he's got. And also Gyökeres for Xerxes. I definitely see him more as a Højlund replacement, the pressing forward. But he can play here. Do we put 2 pressing forwards? No, we'll leave it as is. Højlund's on a hat-trick. We're not bringing him off. And lastly, I want to make sure that we get Amad Diallo getting as much time as possible. Who's he a better replacement for? I'm certain it's on the right. It is. So we'll bring Garnacho off, who's had a great game for Diallo. We'll confirm those subs. But you look at the depth that we're creating. A great centre mid as a backup in Rabiot. Diallo, young, gets loads of game time as a sub and a starter in some competitions. And then Gyökeres could easily be the starting striker across any Premier League team, in my opinion. And he has a chance to prove it here. Luke Shaw misses the pass through as Walker intercepts. Bernardo with some great dribbling. De Bruyne, it's looking like they'll get a shot off soon. But Stones is the one to get that shot off. He's great at carrying the ball forward. Maybe not so much at striking. And that does keep it 4-1 to United. A great game. Usually I would be, pausing the video and letting things fly by, but we are doing unbelievably. We'll make a couple of changes just in these last 4 minutes. So Bruno will come off. He'll get a massive clap to Mason Mount. I do want to bring off Rashford, but I do want to make sure that Lenny Yoro gets time. Do we have another sub maybe? Because it's a charity game. We might actually, which is brilliant. Let's see if we can get everyone on. No, we can't. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 subs. How weird. But I think that works. Yoro now gets on to show us what he can do as well. And we might change Dallo there because he's having a bit of a poor game, weirdly, as City have one last chance. But before we do end it, on the instructions, on the shouts, I'm going to praise the entire team. They have done absolutely brilliant, even though City are on us for these last few minutes. But we'll go defensive. Can we build up? Let's see our build up, because usually with my teams I do play shorter passing. I love possessional play and moving it, but with United, with the players that we have, the speed, the youngsters, let's play direct. Why not? And it seems to have worked so far. But there is one last attack. Sancho wins the ball. He's on for Rashford. Back in the United squad. Gyökeres over to Højlund for his hat-trick. And Rasmus Højlund shows why he should be the starting striker over Victor Gyökeres, over Xerxes maybe, as Gyökeres, we'll call him Victor, I think, gets the assist. But a great hold-up play, chests it down, plays it through to Højlund, who smacks it against the underside of the bar, kind of like Joe Hugill's goal in pre-season against Rangers 2 days ago. But in the last minute of the Charity or Community Shield, Manchester United are 5-1 up against City, and we look like we could get another Højlund through to Ahmad. Can't quite find him. City do get on the counter, but whatever they do here, they are going to be walking off embarrassed. Manchester is red. We have set a statement of intent against any team in the Premier League. It's such a shame we're not in the Champions League this year as well, but we'll get there. But what a statement. Højlund with a hat-trick, Bruno with 2. We've got assists from different players. And we might even get a 6th here in the last minute. Sancho whips it out to Ahmad, who I'm so excited for, and I take that back. But what a start from United. 5-1, we lift the Community Shield. It's a trophy. We get it under our belt. Let's make sure we have a watch of that ceremony. And not only that, we have embarrassed our noisy neighbours 5-1. We just make sure, or we have to make sure, we take that into the league this season. But we've deserved it. We lift the Community Shield. A great start for Manchester United, and hopefully we can carry that on. And there you go, the trophy lift. It's always nice to watch. It drags on a bit, but there you go. A great start. A great pre-season, in my opinion. Some top signings. We're looking really, really good, and we're excited for what this season has ahead. So really, really good. We'll see what our schedule quickly looks before we go, and who knows, we could be signing obviously Xavi Simons or Fagioli or a striker, Inacio, who knows. But looking at our schedule, we open the season with a game against Wolves, Aston Villa, Ipswich in the opening months. All games we should be winning. Maybe a tricky start to September there. Chelsea, Tottenham, Newcastle. December looks quite tough. City and Liverpool to open right after an Arsenal game as well. So that's a tough run there. Chelsea, Tottenham and Newcastle again. Is that? Yeah, that's the same. Is it just carrying on? Because then we got Bournemouth, then West Ham. Yeah, so it basically does the same. So a tough end to the season here. Arsenal, City and Liverpool in April. But hopefully we're top of the table and have won it by then. But a great start from Manchester United. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, make sure to leave a like. Comment down below your thoughts on the signings and the thrashing of Manchester City. And of course, please do subscribe. We're looking forward to making this series and many others before FM25. So thank you for watching, and yeah, we'll see you against Wolves.